Hi, I'm Taylor McCreary. Strategic questions, Scat Cats. Scat Cats is a catchy way to help you remember 4 very helpful ways to get talkers to continue talking, go deeper, and hopefully learn more about what's on their mind. Number 1 is share a story. The goal is to get personal experiences. This is not an opportunity for debate or analysis. Do not interpret the talker's story to tell them what you imagine is the root of the issue. Just listen. First example of this is, your blank is blank. What happened? Start from the beginning. The second example is, you mentioned blank. Can you give me some examples of that? And the third example is, oh my, how did that work out for you? And then number 2 is clarify terms or concepts being used. First example is, could you clarify what you mean by blank? And the second example is, you use the word blank. What does that mean for you in this case? Number 3 is arrange space, and that means the physical, social, intellectual, and emotional space. So under physical space, it means a large portion of how we communicate is nonverbal. The first thing that I can do as a listener is I can lean in to show you're interested. And the second thing I can do as a listener is you can mirror their sitting position to show the talker's unconscious mind that you're on the same wavelength. It's weird, but it works. And under intellectual and or social space, I can create the opportunity for new perspectives. So I can ask myself, what do you suppose the other person would say if they were here right now? Or I can ask, whose perspective haven't you heard yet? Or I can ask, what information do you still need? And under emotional space, this is to offer talkers a safe space to be real with you, me. The first example that I can say is, when you say that blank happened, what emotions came along with it, and how does that compare to what you're feeling now? And then number 2, if it comes up, I can say it's okay to cry. And number 4 is, tell me more. First example of what I can say is, okay, so going back to the part where you said blank, tell me more about this. The second example is, when a talker begins to doubt themselves in the middle of the rant, I can say, keep going, you may be onto something. And so for share a story, my question that I came up with was, has this ever happened to you or someone you know before? And for clarify, I came up with, what did you mean when you said blank? And then for tell me more, for arrange space, I can ask myself, am I making comfortable eye contact? And for tell me more, I can ask, so what did you do, or what happened? To answer, how can strategic questioning affect a person's ability to feel heard and understood? By asking questions and being non-verbally interested, it keeps me engaged with the person, and it shows them that I want to hear and understand them, and that I'm not just trying to get a good grade, that I actually want to hear what they're saying, so they'll be more inclined and more comfortable in talking to me about whatever that may be. And to answer, what was the hardest question to come up with? So I'm not used to coming up with questions for myself. So the arranging space question sounds a little awkward to me, because that's not how I would remind myself to do these things. And the clarify question was also a little weird or hard, because I think the situation would allow me to understand how to ask this question. So coming up with one that was just like fill in the blank was a little difficult. And how can going back and watching our recordings help us become better listeners? I think recording ourselves allows us to see like the little things that we do that we don't naturally notice. So I, in making this video, have to be very cognizant of talking slower, because I know I can like trip over my words a lot because I'll just be talking too fast, and that can make someone like uncomfortable or hard for me to respond to someone with, because they might just overwhelm them too. As I'm talking, I'm noticing that I use my hands a lot, and that might just be distracting to somebody who's trying to talk to me or listen to whatever else I have to say to them. I also noticed that I say a few times, and so maybe going back and rewatching these videos can make us more aware of what we're doing and how we're saying things, so we can come across in a better and more comfortable way for the other person.